Good evening. Welcome to the webinar here on Tuesday night. We're going to be talking about business planning and budgeting, and we're so glad to have you all with us tonight and look forward to many more folks joining us, which are coming in quite well, and so we're glad to have you on board. Creating a business plan and a budget, that's our goal for tonight, and this is part 2 of a 7-part series. You don't have to attend them all to get your certificates and such as that, but you're always welcome to attend one or all of them, so we're glad to have you. January 21st, my presentation number 1157. Thank you for joining me on my journey. I'm not a lawyer or an accountant, just a fellow that continues to be in business on a daily basis, so I'm facing the same challenges as you are. I know what it is to make a payroll for 60 years. I know what it is to have some really great years and some really years where you're challenged quite a bit. I'll try to share with you the things to help you to avoid as much stress and unexpected expenses as I can so that you can be more profitable. We are so lucky to have our sponsor tonight being the Small Business Center at Martin Community College in Williamston, and we've got a lot of Williamston folks with us, so that's really good. I hope that y'all have been by and met the folks at the Small Business Center, where Charles Banks is your director, and he does a fantastic job. And give him a call, set up an appointment at 252-789-0202. Charles is a fine fellow. He's been in business a long time. He's easy to talk to, very caring person. And I'm sure you will enjoy the experience. And all his service is confidential, professional, and free. So take advantage of that. It's like adding an extra employee to your organization. Does a fantastic job. His administrative assistant is Deborah Hardison. She's a wonderful lady, does a great job for you and for Charles, and she'd welcome your call to help you any way that she can as well. Hopefully, if you had signed up earlier, you received study guides that I prepared for you. The one with the talking points is number 1157. If you can print out your main study guide before these webinars start and use them to take notes on, and we'll probably make it a lot easier for you. But I'd like for you to set up a computer file, save these study guides as we go through the course, and we'll be able to use them in your business planning, your business journal, refer back to them when you can, and such as that. Got a lot of study guides here. Maybe the most important ones tonight that really need to be used quite soon is the creating your mission, vision, and promise statements. If you would and you want to accept some challenges, that's the number one challenge for you. And the next one is doing your menu for your profit centers, which we'll talk about a little bit earlier, but all these are good. Look forward to working with you. I want to say to you that I believe that you are made for so much more, just like I think that I am made for so much more. I don't feel like any of us are reaching our full potential, and I don't want you to give up on me. I'm going to keep plugging along here at 78 years old. I'll keep working as hard as I can to make a difference in this world. I won't be giving up on you, and I don't want you to give up on yourself. Getting this business started, it's a challenge. I know that it is. It requires a lot of thinking, a lot of brain power. There'll be some heartaches involved in it as you go along and some surprises, but just know, keep the endurance and everything will work out all right. After 66 years in business, I know that to be true because I live it and live it every day. I don't offer you a lot of stuff tonight, a lot of information. I know that it will be a plate full and your name is in the pot. So I want you to come and relax. Take from this webinar what you need to take, put it to work. Don't try to absorb it all because it'll just be too much probably. But if you go back and watch the video tomorrow and use your handouts and go through them, you can get every bit of it down. But I don't have 2 hours to work with you, so I'll be moving along pretty quickly. But the thing is, it's here for you. Take what you will, use what you can, and we're just glad to share it with you. It's up to you whether or not you want to Just enjoy the program, take what you want to because we want you to do it at your own pace, or dig in and go the extra mile and try to put everything we're doing to work, complete all the homework assignments, and see how quickly you can move your business forward if that's the pace you want to go at. We won't talk about anything here tonight that will not help you. So take what you will, and we're here to help you make it go forward. I'll be keeping up with attendance as we go through. We got everyone that came in with us last week, and certainly do appreciate it. And look forward to seeing your names keep coming up here. If you attend 5 out of the 7 webinars, 5 out of 7, you'll automatically qualify to get a completion certificate. Frameable, nice certificate. I think Charlene's with us tonight. She's received some certificates before. And if you do more homework assignments and challenges that you complete, be entitled and eligible for more and more certificates, including membership to the Academy of Entrepreneurs and Associates with a very nice frameable certificate. You can take that and probably $1.50 and go anywhere and get you a nice cup of coffee. But indeed, you'll know the hard work you put in to earn that certificate, and I'll know it. And then the more classes that you attend, the more certificates you can earn and raise your status in the academy from an associate up through an advanced associate and then into the masters. Masters 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we've got a Masters 10 now. And Sarita Sampson is our Masters 10. She's and that indicates that she's completed 12 courses. So you're always welcome, and many people are coming back after they graduate from the first group and keep refreshing yourself. So as long as you don't delete all the reminders I'll send to you, I'll let you know when I'm giving a class. We'll look forward to seeing you. Special congratulations to Donald Herndon in Turkey. He's the first fellow in our class this semester so far that has sent me in some information. Donald is a woodmaster and makes sophisticated furniture, traditional, old-timey, what they call shaker furniture, from up mostly known around the Amish country. There's a certain way of making it, all out of wood and certain woods. And right now, he told me he's into making a clock, a stand-up clock, which includes making the internal parts of the clock itself. So Don must be quite a technician. I'm looking forward to visiting his shop over in Turkey. That's in Sampson or Dublin County, one or the other. It's right on the line. And seeing some of his work and getting to meet Don personally. But I appreciate him taking part in the series here and sending in some photographs and information. He did complete his mission, vision, and promise statements and sent those in. Did a really good job, and these are going to be so valuable for you as you're promoting your business along the line. So about the rest of you, join Don and send me some photographs and some of the homework challenges so we can start helping promote your business as well. The more you send to me, the more I can help you and the more we can share. Get it on Facebook and share it out, maybe help you start doing some business and getting paid for it. You will be getting a survey about tonight's class, probably come in after we sign off or first thing in the morning. Please take 60 seconds and fill the surveys out and send them back. The directors really appreciate it when you do that, and it helps them plan future work. Okay, get your fingers up and running. Let's do some chat, some basic questions. Get you paying attention here and making sure that we're all in class here together. This is a good chance to work together. What's your favorite dessert? I had round steak tonight, which was Vienna sausages. Sometimes I eat those for dessert because I really do like them. What's your favorite dessert out of the whole world of entrees? Usually mine would say it's banana pudding for me, and I love it, but I've got a reason for asking you. How about typing in over in the chat board, get your fingers warmed up. Tell me what your favorite dessert is. Is it an apple pie or something special like that? There we go, red velvet cake. I love that too. I've eaten so much of it. That is good stuff. It's supper time, guys. Tell me what you'd like for dessert. See all of you coming in now. Thank you. Ice cream. Yes, indeed. Thank you all. Put it on in there. Okay, now, let's talk about sleeping. When you go to sleep at night, do you like to go to sleep in a dark, quiet room, or do you like to have some noise in the background, some background noise? Which environment do you sleep best in? I sleep best usually going to sleep with the television on, but about 11 o'clock I'll wake up and turn it off. So I sleep best when it's dark and quiet and cold, actually. But this makes a difference. All of us got different ways of going about finding what we want to do and how we feel about making it happen. And the sleeping is certainly important because we do have to charge our batteries. Now, when we wake up in the morning after a great night's sleep, here's the big question. When you wake up in the morning and you leave your bedroom, do you make up the bed or you just let it lay the way you got out of it? This isn't the truth to set you free here. We're not going to tell anybody else, but we need to know tonight. Well, usually, do you make your bed up or not? Tell me what you do. There, most here we go. I pull the covers up. I hear that, and that didn't sound like I made the bed up. It just seems like we just pulled it up and shaped it up a little bit. So how about that? Now, if you are one of those who make the bed up, the question now, and this is the serious one, do you really pull it tight, make sure all the wrinkles are out, fluff up your pillows and put them in the right positions, put the spread over it just right? Do you make your bed up tight and neat? Just a yes or a no here. And this is the important part. Do you make it up tight and neat? Well, I want to tell you that I do. And I'm not bragging on myself. It's just a habit that I was forced to get into when I joined the military back in 1966 in February. And it was about this temperature when they shipped us off to boot camp. But the first morning we were there, they taught us absolutely that before we left our barracks, our beds were going to be made up so tight that if you flipped the quarter up and when the quarter came down and hit the sheets, it should bounce up. The quarter should bounce up. That's how tight it should be, like a trampoline almost. And that's something, so we learned to really pull those sheets tight, blankets tight, so that quarters would bounce up because we were tested on it. And if we didn't have them just right to again, we were punished one way or the other until we did get it right. What is the logic in that? Why would the military take the time to worry about something like that? And I'll assure you, it's just not a neat thing. They had a reason, and they say that the reason is that if you and I and people just joining the military, all of us in regular life, start out the day by doing something that we accomplish and finish and is done right, it means we're going to have a better day. Because we can say at least to ourselves, well, at least today I've done something right and it looks good and I'm proud of it. And we can do that first thing in the morning, and it tends to help you have a better day. I believe that's true. Now, I've made up my bed type pretty much every day, and I've had some awful days through the years. But I'll tell you this, I think that making that bed up, and even this morning, I remember that I did it, and I looked at it, and as I walked out of the bedroom and turned my light off, I turned around and looked, and that bed looked pretty good, and I said, all right, Steve, you're off to a good start. So it may be a little tip that helps you get some thought, and it will definitely, if you got your children and you're talking to them about encouraging them to do that, this will give you a little bit more ammunition to give them a reason why that bed needs to be made up, because we're just going to get right back in it, right? That's what I always would hear. Through this series we're not doing words of the week, we're doing quotations of the week, famous quotes. So last week we started out with one, and let me ask you, do any of you, since most of you were here, remember what Walt Disney said for our quote of the week last year? He said that the way to get started is to do something. And the first word was started with a Q. Did any of you remember what Walt Disney's quote of the week was last week? The best way to get started, or the way to get started, is to do what? Let me see it over in the chat board. Type that in. First word starts with Q.
Begin doing.
Listen at you, Rose. That's exactly right. Say that again.
Say it. Quit talking and begin doing.
That's right. Amen. That's right. Walt Disney had it right, and y'all have done that and started coming back. So congratulations. That's a good quote and a good one to remember that we'll keep using. So this week we got us a brand new one from Michael Ventura, and that is there's no finish line, there's only mile markers. In a lot of situations, that's exactly right. You'll hear me say about being an entrepreneur, successful entrepreneur, that our goal, of course, we want to make money, but our goal is not to make $1 million or to have the biggest business in town or this and that. I want to tell you that to be successful as an entrepreneur, your goal is to get to the finish line, is to see it through. Stay in business long enough to get good at it and learn the fine points to keep you in business, keep your customers happy. And each one of those fine points represent a mile marker. So I agree with Michael, and we'll remember this saying that there's no finish line in small business. There's only mile markers that we're trying to get to the next one. My job is to be assertive, and to do that, I'll be trying to motivate you, motivate your customers, motivate your vendors. If I'm stepping on your toe, I apologize. I'm really just trying to put my toe behind your heel and get you to move forward to the next step at your own pace. You got your homework challenges. They're in your email that's coming to you. Again, let me encourage you to do your mission, vision, and promise statements. They're easy to do, and I've given you all the ammunition you need just to say, okay, I'm going to jump into this, Steve, and send them on back to you. Do your market, do your menu of your 5 profit centers that we've been talking about, and put some values. Let's get on Facebook, start seeing each other. You can find me at 4 or 5 places on Facebook. The 3 easiest are my personal page, and then I have several business pages that you're welcome to visit. I'd like for you also to visit the Academy page on Facebook, and look forward to getting your name on there and some photos if you'll send them to me. It's a real good page where we promote each other's businesses and talk about upcoming classes. My page, when you look, and there's a lot of Steve Carvers, like there are a lot of everything else on Facebook, but when you type in Steve Carver and you see just the blue sky and clouds background, you'll know you're at the right place. So drop in there and let's be friends and check each other out. So my job is to motivate. Your job is to find the endurance to stay in the game. Staying in the game, that's what we're after, and we're going to work hard to do that. As you know, we do our 40 drill skills each week. Last week we did the first 8, 7 or 8. Tonight we're going to do the next on the list. Last week we talked about what's the business plan for? It's to tell us what's left. What's the marketing plan for? To tell us what's next. There's 3 types of marketable profit centers: bring in new customers, build traffic, big ticket items. Our best customer is our raving fan customer, because they go out and brag to other people and get them to come to do business with us. No demand, change the plan is saying we're going to create a business plan tonight, just like Donald did, and he's been working on his. But I want to tell you that whatever the plan is, we know right up front that we're going to need to change it along the way. Not going to throw it away. We'll make the changes that it takes. Having ideas and making changes and introducing strategies, I like to refer to putting the dots in the circle. And as we're connecting the dots, we want to connect them in a circle so that they make sense, to keep the business rolling like a wheel. We don't want to make decisions that are bumps in the road. Those bumps in the road will mess everything up, and as entrepreneurs, making new decisions is easy to do. So throughout the course, we'll talk about maybe things that we do and don't do to help keep the business moving forward. Now let's move into some new ones. The 3 words are "by the way." So let's type those 3 words in, if you don't mind, in chat, "by the way," because they will be the most important 3 words in your business life. By the way, if you use it properly, will be the most important 3 words in your business life. And why is that? Because "by the way" represents the keys that unlock the door to upsells, and the cross sells. And when you're upselling and cross selling, you're stacking your profits. It means that you're making sales and closing deals that you didn't know you were going to do. You're making deals and closing sales and making profit that you didn't dream that you'd be able to do. Because when you follow our guide, when you follow our marketing plan, what we're talking about, and you have your marketable profit centers lined up in such a way that they support each other, and you can say to the customer, hey, thanks for buying this from me, and by the way, I've also got this and that. Man, that is a beautiful coat you bought from me. It fits you just perfectly. And by the way, I got some gloves that match it, and I've got a scarf and a hood that match it. By the way, creates upsells, and customers love it and love you to do it. And you love it because you're going to increase your profitability 2 or 3-fold by doing it. And there's so many people who don't have a clue about this, and it makes me so happy that you're joining these classes, because these are the kind of things that I can teach you. By the way, sales, probably I'll use with at least 80% of my customers. 80% of the people that come to me to buy one thing, before we close the deal out, they've got a package, a bundle of several other things that they needed and just forgot about talking about. But we know that they do need them, so I've got them available and prepared for them. You don't have, by the way, upsells without forecasting and having it ready. So it's an important word. So by the way, everybody type it in. Several of you did. Thank you so much. By the way is upsells and stacking profits. Remember the 3 most important rules to catching fish we talked about last week? If you're fishing in the ocean and you do a certain thing, you're going to catch fish. What was that thing we were talking about? Keep fresh bait in the water. Keep fresh bait in the water was rule number 1, 2, and 3 to catch fish every time you go fishing. Well, yeah, we might not like to go fishing, but tonight we want to catch customers. We want to make sales. We have to catch customers. And the way we do that is the same 3 rules. Keep fresh bait in the water, but now it's keep fresh promotions going out to your customers. Keep fresh promotions going out to your customers. And we'll do it every day. And next week when we're talking about marketing, and in week 4 when we're talking about how to find customers, we'll really jump into this big time. Now, what is the best way to find customers? And I'd like for you to type this in, because it's going to be part of what we have to do every day. Just like the by the way is so important for us to find customers, the answer is help them find you. Help them find you. Please type that in. Help them find you. We want customers to learn to come to us. We want our marketing plan to be like a magnet that brings them to us, instead of us trying to go out and chase them everywhere and run and work and go here and there trying to chase customers. If we develop our marketing plan after week 3 and 4 that helps customers and brings customers to us, that's savvy, that's smart, and that's what we got to do. All these people out here in the world who maybe have a potential to be in one of your customers, I want to tell you there's no way in the world that we can be everything, be all things to all people. We can't do it. But we must be everything to some people. Charlene and Lynette, Tasha, if you've got people that are relying on you to get certain products and services from, and they believe in you, and they're one of your raving fan customers, then you're everything to them. And that's the customers that we really want to look after and stay in touch with. Let me tell you that I do business with, I think our email database for equipment customers is somewhere around 1,700 active customers. And we'll send them promotions out. And at the end of the year, we'll probably do 50% of our business with repeat customers. Now, we don't lose 1/3 of our customers every year, just like you would. So it's important that we keep bringing in new business. And when you can send out 14 or 1,500 email promotions, excuse me, and almost immediately have 20 or 30 sales from that, that's good business. That's amazing business that small businesses can do. And I want to teach you how to do it just like I'm able to do it in my business, which has kept me in business a long time. I want to give you a word of caution. You're gonna make some money with your business. You're gonna follow these plans and have a good, successful business. I feel it in my bones for you, and you're gonna start getting in some money. Well, what I want to caution you about is just because you've got extra money in the bank, and it's very seldom you do that when you first get started, but you'll get there when you have extra money in the bank. I want to caution you not to try to pay off long-term debt with your short-term cash flow. If you do that, you're going to end up in big trouble. So that's just a little footnote. Now, in week 5, we're going to talk about funding our business and how to manage our money, how to manage our debts. But this is just a footnote I want to put in now. We want to keep our business, and as we're doing our business plan tonight, we're going to talk about part of what we're going to do is we take in money is put some money in a reserve account, try to start saving right away because there will be some unexpected expenses that come along. We're going to do a budget and a market and a business plan tonight, and part of that business plan is going to have a marketing budget in it. How can you get a return on the marketing investment if you don't make the investment? Well, you can't. So, but we have to be savvy enough to know that marketing is one thing and advertising we like to call it something else. And marketing is going to be the big picture, the long term. What are we doing every day, every month to create ourselves in the market as being steady, so customers will always expect to see our ads and know where we are and expect to see us in business so they can start planning to do business with us because they know we're going to be there. But advertising, on the other hand, are those ads that we run about something special because of the timing or the seasonal situation or introducing a new product or maybe introducing our new business. Advertising, we're going to call it targeted advertising, and it'll be for the short term. So we're going to look at them in 2 different ways, okay? Marketing long term, advertising short term. Excuse me, an allergy here. Who's going to cause you the most trouble? Who's your meanest, strongest, toughest competitor? You know what the answer is? It's us and our distractions. The main things that don't keep us from being successful are the distractions we put up with in our own life. Put up with it wasn't a good choice of words. The distractions we have to manage in our life. And distractions aren't always something wrong because it may be the 2 other jobs that you're working or the several children that you're responsible for, or maybe you're the caretaker for a senior citizen. There's a lot of things that go on in our lives, the drama in there. But now we want to start a new business, and there's going to be new things to do. And I know that you're already busy, and so thankful you were able to find time to come here tonight. But I'm going to tell you, you don't have to do some rearranging and start doing some business things that maybe during that time period you're doing something else now. But just accept that as a must. It's something we don't have to do different because we're getting into business now. So how do you do that? How do you fight those distractions? And it's one answer and it's one word, and that is priorities. Putting the priorities where they need to be so that you're spending time on what you need to do to move forward in the business. That's just real simple, but we need to have that reasoning. Now you're going to be buying and selling as a business person. Entrepreneurs buy and sell. We buy products and then we resell them to somebody else, or we make products and sell them to other people, wholesale or resale. Or maybe we've got a service we're going to provide. So let me ask you over in the chat board, type in, because most of your revenue in your business don't come from products or services. Is most of the revenue that you're going to be planning a business plan around tonight, where you're going to be selling a product or a service? How about typing that in for me so we'll have, and the rest of our class can kind of see what we're all about. Leah's got products, both for Carolina. Products for Lynette, okay. What else we got here? Rest of you okay? Rose, how about you? You know what you're going to be doing, Charlene? Products or services? There we go. So, fair market value, thank you all for typing in there. Fair market value is a realization about where is the market? What is the legal price value of this thing that I'm offering? And because we see advertisements everywhere, and you and I can put a price tag, whatever we want to, on anything we want to do. But we can't operate that way with all this, anything in the world going on. But with fair market value and understanding how that works for you, you'll know how much you can pay for something and not pay too much. You'll know what the fair market value is, and buy, when you're purchasing and shopping, buy below fair market value. So you'll be able to sell above fair market value. That's where your margin will be. That's where your profit margin is going to be. The distance between where you bought it at below fair market value and where you sell it above fair market value. And you're going to need to know how to get there. So plan right now to read this over and over again, to listen to it and know that we're not doing this just for the fun of it. We're doing it because fair market value is one of the 10 commandments that you have to know when you're buying and selling. And that is, what is the money value of a product when a willing seller and a willing buyer, that means people that are there not because they have to be, they're not under any pressure, and both the buyer and the seller have been around a while and they understand the values of this product or service, and they agree on what the price of it is, the value of it is in the market that y'all are at today. And that price they come up with is fair market value. And there's some people in this world whose job all day long is to determine the fair market value of things. And what would that occupation be? That would be the appraisers. Appraisers to determine what fair market value is. And then it's up to other people to see how much above fair market they can sell it or below fair market they can buy it. So challenge yourself to memorize what fair market value is. Because when we get into selling and you get into buying, you want to always buy below fair market value so you can sell above it. It's just one of those foundation bricks that we deal with. Now we're going to move now into a different world. Advertising we talked about. And notice I'm using the word advertising here and not marketing. It's the L and the H in advertising. The L and the H. It's the look and the hook. So I don't know if I've said this to y'all before in one of my classes, but I want you all to become really good hookers. Hookers in the best way. Hookers in the way that you understand that the hook in advertising is a call to action. A call to action. That is a hook that brings customers in, that makes them want to buy from you now. And to get there, you have to have a look that your ad was look good enough to get their attention and hold their attention long enough to read it to absorb the hook. And when you are able to do this, and you'll learn it so quickly next week, that look and hook advertising will keep you from wasting a lot of money keeps you from wasting it, and help you learn how to make your ads pay for themselves. That's pretty cool, right? So we want to do that because 99% of advertisers that is purchased is wasted money, just wasted. You and I and other entrepreneurs are talked into spending money on advertising that is absolutely worthless by people selling advertising. So I'm going to give you some tools to fight that, to have in your toolbox, to not waste your money. So that's it for tonight. We've got 8 of them behind us, and we'll keep on plugging each week. So tonight we're going to get back into focus into writing a plan for long-term success. Looking at it, we know we need a startup, a budget, and a planner to get to where we need to be. So let's just have a couple of things, some icing on this cake. Right now, as we're starting to plan, embrace the possibility of change right now on day one, because embracing the possibility of change is making sure that your business will stand up for the long term. Yes, we don't have a business plan, but yes, I'm telling you right now, accepting change, to be changing this business plan as we go through and get started and we'll start learning is going to be really important. So a business plan is to be written and then rewritten and rewritten. I learned today that according to the data from the U.S. Bureau of Labor and Statistics, that only 25% of new businesses make it to 15 years. Only 25%. That didn't surprise me at all. As a matter of fact, I really expected less. But 25% do make it 15 years. And this is a stat that has not changed over the last 30 years or so. So what is an important lesson that we can take from this? What do I need to recognize here as a coach and share with you as someone just getting started? Well, I'm introducing the word founding conditions. The first time I've ever used them in classes. I'll be using it more. But the founding condition in planning of a business, rather than the market changes, I think have a whole lot more to do with your long-term success. Market changes, the market out here changes all the time. Every day the stock market goes up and down. Other markets go up and down. Demand goes up and down. And sometimes with all that changing going on, it puts people out of business that just got started. But I know and believe that if we start our businesses with the right founding conditions, and the founding condition is planning and budgeting and forecasting where we're going, it'll make a world of difference. So I want to tell you that pay attention here and try to understand why the business planning helps you be in a better position to do changes as you go. And I've tried to put together our models tonight, so that should become very clear. And a solemn truth needs to be said tonight. As we're doing our first business plan, maybe you're doing your first one. And that is, our thoughts are usually locked into just surviving today. As brand new businesses, low income, low cash flow, low sales, not many customers, we just like to survive. And I know that, and I believe that too, and I get locked into surviving today as well. After 66 years, I don't have to quite worry about it nearly as much as I did when I was first getting started. But what I want us to do together as a team here, you and I and all of us, is to work real hard in all of our thinking. While we're worrying about surviving today, I want us to put in the ingredients that will help us thrive tomorrow. Yes, in building into our foundation, thriving tomorrow is really going to improve our chances to have a long-term, successful, sustainable business. If we don't plan to thrive, it's not going to happen. So keep that in mind as we go forward. When you were a teenager and just getting ready to start spending your own money and having needs to go here and things you needed to buy for yourself in school or weekend activities, we all probably started some type of budget. We knew we had X amount of money coming in, and that was it. And then we had to determine, well, how much of this money are we going to spend on one thing versus something else? So we don't start out with that basic premise because business is exactly the same way. So let's say together now that we've got $7,000 revenue to work with. Congratulations, $7,000's coming in. And that's kind of where our budget is now. And to do this with that $7,000, we're going to have to spend some of that money one of three different ways. And this is how you don't have to do it, just like me. When we're spending money, we buy one, something we need, or two, something we want. Don't really need it, but we want it. Or three, we're paying off some type of debt. So now we got $7,000, and we're using 60% of it to buy things we need, $4,200. We're using 30% of it to buy things we want, $2,100, and we're paying $700 in debt. Okay, we got it spread around pretty good. But listen, I want to buy more things that I want and need. I want to do it, and you want to do it. We need some more money. So how do we have more money to buy that? We have to earn more and raise our revenues. So let's add $3,000 to our revenues. Let's add profit centers that bring us in $3,000 more dollars. And that'll raise our revenue up to $10,000. So now we're going to forecast a little bit. Okay, we got $10,000 coming in now. We still got that $4,200 on things we need. Okay. But now we can spend not $2,100, but $4,800 on things we want. And instead of paying $700, we indeed can pay $1,000 on our debt. So the way we have more things to use to buy that we want and we need and debts we pay is to make more money. So in small business class, how do we make more money? That's our questions tonight, right? And the simple answer is add profit centers, add revenue centers, add things you do to make money. It's the most easiest and simple way to go forward once you have a business in place. So we're going to talk about the 5 different main steps concerned when we're doing a business plan. Well, what is a business plan? Why have it? What kind of plan do I need to get there? What are business models for income and expense items? And how are we going to go about connecting them? That's my challenge tonight to do for you. Why have a business plan? To help you have the information you need before you invest big time and money and treasure into an idea. You want to have a good plan before you ask anyone else to loan you money. You need a document that you can go back to and work with and make changes that feel good about you've got a good map, a good plan to get there. And all of this is to help you avoid as many unexpected expenses as you can. That's why we're here tonight, to talk about a plan to help us do that. What's our goal with the plan is to tell us what's left. Now, throughout the rest of this course, I'll always ask you, what's that business plan going to tell you? And your answer is going to be what's left. So let me ask you to go to your keyboard, your chat, and I'm going to ask you, why do we want to know what a business plan is? What's a business plan going to tell us? And the answer needs to always be what's left. So type that in. It's as simple as that. What's left is what that business plan is going to do for you. Type that in to help you remember. Now, if that number at the bottom of our business plan is in black ink, that means that was positive cash flow and we've got more money than we have spent. But if we spent more money than we took in, that's going to be red ink. So what do we want and what's left? We want some black ink. Thank you all for typing in there to help you remember. So I need to ask you again now to answer a question for me. What type of business are we into with you? Are you adding some income to your already business plan? Are you doing a side hustle? Is this thing going to be part-time or is it full-time? Which one of these best apply to what you are up to? a side hustle that you'll work on when you can, or is this going to be a dedicated part-time business or a dedicated full-time business? Okay, recognize that, because as we do our business plan, side hustles will take in a different type of influence on that plan. Is this going to be your only income, a second job, or a third job? Your only income, a second job, or a third job? Got a couple of full-timers here. That's great. So that requires a lot more commitment for a full-time job. Thank you all for typing in there. I appreciate that. I'd like to know, how many dependents do you have? How many folks are you feeding and providing shelter for? How many dependents do you have? It's up to you to provide that. Of course, the more we have, the more drama we have, and the more complicated it gets. Okay, several dependents. That's good. So we're all in the family. Your dependents are my dependents, a good coach would say. Now, back to the side hustle. If you are doing a side hustle, that means you've already got a personal business plan in a way. You've got income coming in. It's steady. You know pretty much what your expenses are. So starting a side hustle is not quite as difficult as doing something else. As a matter of fact, side hustle will just become another marketable profit center in your business plan that you've already got. But you have to be real careful here with the factor. There's some advantages for that side hustle. Less startup costs. You've already got customer contacts probably. Lower cost of doing business. Less stress on your primary income. But there's a big caution I want to mention to you, and several of you have mentioned side hustle. You don't want your new side hustle business that we're working towards to become so involved for you that you start hurting your traditional income. Don't get so motivated and try to move too fast on the side hustle that you will start losing the benefits that you may already have in your other job. Keep that in mind. I know this sounds like your old granddaddy talking to you. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Sometimes we can get so excited about the grass on the other side of the fence that we quit appreciating where we are now. Don't want you to do that. We can do this with good planning, and you take advantage of the work you already have and add the side hustle to bring in that extra income that you need. Now, you may be looking at wanting to start this business. Well, let me just ask you over in chat, if you don't mind. How many months from now do you plan to start your business? And if it's just like, if you're already started, just put I'm already started, or just put already. But, or is it 5 months, 6 months, a year? Not quite sure yet. How many months do you take? So Lynette said 0. Maybe, does that mean you're already started, or are you just not sure? So 6 months, that's good, less than a year. The reason I ask that is that most folks just getting started need 6 months to a year to get things lined up if it's a substantial business. And that makes sense. But some folks want to move a whole lot faster, and that's just fine too. So what you have on your screen now and in your handout is a planner. Now, I meant to update this. That October 15th should have said February 15th, so y'all work along with me here. We're basically going to look at a 6-month planner. And we're going to say that if we were in September and we were going to start in October, that's what it would be. So what do we need to do? I've listed down here all the things I can think of that are almost always part of your business plan. Some of these maybe you've already done, and some of you haven't done, but know it's coming, and this may be news to the rest of you. But generally, these are the items that have to be covered, and I want you to have a 6-month planner. You can take what I sent you in the Word file in your handout, open it up in your computer, and do your own 6-month planner right now this week if you want to. So let's say we were starting out during the first month. I'd want you to determine your products and services, and that's why I'm asking y'all to send me a menu of your profit centers, a menu with some what the items are you're going to be selling, what the items are, services you're going to be providing. And then I want you to create a list of the things that you do not know, that you've got worries about, that maybe you don't have enough product knowledge, or enough skills to complete this in such a way. Maybe you're just not ready to do the forecasting or the pricing or know about the insurance or how to present this, how much you should keep in stock. Make a list of the things you do not know, and I'm welcoming you to send that on to me. And if you'll do that, I'll reply to you, work with you one-on-one, and start including some of these answers into the future classes that we do together. During the next 30 days, the second 30 days, let's think about starting a database of our best chance customers, our targeted advertising customers. Who are the people that are probably going to be the best customers we have that we can get right away? I like to call them the low-hanging fruit. And we need a database of email addresses and cell phone numbers or mailing addresses if that's something you could get. So that's something you can start on actually right now. Where is your market? These people that you're planning on selling to, where are they? Are they in a certain neighborhood in your county? Generally in North Carolina, maybe it's coastal fishermen. Maybe it's folks in the mountains that are skiing. Maybe it's folks across the United States. But where are they? We need to know that so we can develop a marketing plan next week that you can reach out to them, actually week 4. Okay, we're doing that. Now, how about our location for our business? Are you going to need an office? Have you secured your office? Have you feel good about the market that it's in? And have you thought about your startup cost? And that's the big deal. Your startup costs are the monies that you've already spent, items that you've bought, inventory you already have, tools that you've got, office supplies, this and that. I want you to make a list of the tangible items that you have purchased or that you plan to devote and give to your company. This is an important list because that's an investment that you're making in your company, and you put a cash value on it. Good news is, once you get up and running and start making money, the company can pay you back, reimburse you, pay you back because you're loaning. You're not giving this stuff to your company, you're making a loan to it. And it's good that you do that so the company can pay you back. And you don't have to, that is not taxable income. Now, when you charge your company interest on that amount of money, and the company will pay you interest as well, that'll be taxable income to you, but it'll be a write-off for them. So think now about your startup costs. Do you have the money? Do you have the means to raise it? Or you don't need to borrow money? We need those numbers and a good idea for them. And I want to tell you that if the number is under $5,000 or $6,000, there's a good chance you can raise that money through different types of fundraising events, maybe to earn that money instead of having to go borrow it somewhere. The next 30 days are coming up, so this will be 90 days into it. Let's think about banking. You don't want to keep your business money separate from your private money, and you'll need a banking source. And I'll tell you, when you go get business accounts from the bank, they're going to require you to have an EIN number, an identification number. So that'll be part of going to get that. And they're going to ask you what your business name is and the business address. So you will need to determine that as well. Wherever your location of the business is, what the circumstances are there will definitely be insurance involved if you're renting property. So talk to the independent insurance agent and get a feel for what you're headed into there. In 90 days, we're going to develop a marketing campaign. That's why it's important that you're around next week to start thinking about how you're going to develop yours. And a budget, of course. Without a structured marketing campaign, you're going to be at a big, big disadvantage. When we have a structured marketing campaign, you're going to have a tremendous advantage over people who do not. Forecasting and negotiating and starting to order materials that you plan to sell, time to do that. Let's start buying and selling some stuff, but mainly right now, forecasting what you need is going to be the most important thing. After that 90 days, during the 120-day period, we're going to actually start that marketing plan. You want to start letting the public know that this business is coming soon. Get some marketing long-term information out there so folks know that you're coming, you've got products, they want to learn more about it. Hey, don't buy just yet. I'll be here. Please wait for me and buy from me. Have that location you start talking about. If you have rented that property, it's time for furniture and fixtures and figuring out how to get those in affordable. Maybe buy used, maybe rental, otherwise. And if you've got a location set up, you're going to need to be real peculiar about your fire codes and your building codes, your licensing, different things like that. So you'll be talking with getting legal, so to speak, with the government. Moving on now, let's put some stock in place because we're going to be opening up in 30 days. Put some stock in place, start training how we're going to sell them, getting our advertised pricing up there. Start doing a little business, have what we call a soft opening. Test everything out. If you got staff, make sure they understand the product and how to go about selling them. What you don't want to do is have a grand opening with your business and not be ready to give the customer really good service because they'll recognize it. What is a tragedy is when a new company has a grand opening and brings in a lot of people and they leave with a bad taste in their mouth because the service was awful or something went wrong. You don't want to take that chance. I believe in grand openings. I believe in having a big deal. It's your one chance that you have to do it. But some people I've recommended they wait as long as a year to get their stuff together and learn how to do business before they invite a large group of folks in. Because that's an investment that you will make, and we want a good return on that investment. So you've gone through that, and you've got everything up and running. It's time to have that grand opening. Bring folks in, start making some money, and don't that sound good to you? Have a lot of hullabaloo and fireworks and refreshments and a lot of sales going on and order taking. But you know what? Now's when you start adding raving fan customers. And the real work at a grand opening is to get all the information you can from those customers coming in or getting in touch with you so you'll be able to follow up with them in your database. And this is true whether it's a grand opening on the internet, a special promotions you've got to bring in, or a pop-up event that you're at, or whatever the type of business is. That grand opening event is a big deal. And it is when you put the pedal to the metal, selling, but mainly following up the customer. It's the follow up that gives you the opportunity to create a relationship and create a customer that will stay with you for a lot of years and help you have a lot of successful months. Okay, that's your time planner. Super important for you. Let me suggest that each one of you put forth down, if you want to be open in 6 months, change this plan around so you got all your bases covered. If you see some problems there that you'd like some help with, please just drop me an email. Let me know. Let me know what's going on. Ask your questions and tell me the type of business you're doing. And if I have any suggestions, I'll be glad to do it. And we'll also let Charles help us down in Williamson. They'd be happy to help us do the same work. So get that pre-planned. It'll be worth $1 million for you. So congratulations. Last week I shared this with the class, and this week I got the business plan come right back from one of our classmates and put it in. I know this works, and I know you can do it. Print these pages out and fill in the blanks, or fill in the blanks and then print them out. At any rate, you can have in just a while a business plan that is suitable for actually asking for a loan if you want to carry it that far. You can have a business plan that you can share with Charles or I, and we'll ask questions about it maybe and see what you want to do with it. So looking at your slide here, we basically need a business name. If you hadn't determined exactly what your new business name is, take a guess at it. Come up with something. Be a dreamer. Put something on the line, and even if you put in parentheses, draft or temporary, but name your business and then put your name there, the information that is asked for, unless you're going to use this document to borrow money, I would not put my social security number there until you actually go into the lender, then you can pencil it in. Email address, telephone number, of course, that comes with the plan. So what are you going to put in this business plan? Short sentences, not anything long-winded, but tell what products and solutions you have. What do you mean solutions? If your business is solving problems for people, like cleaning or mowing or pressure washing or consulting, tell what the problems are that you want to serve for them in your business. What region are you going to be working in? General region. Who are your most apt customer groups? The type of customers going to buy for you. You put that in there. And the season, how the seasons will affect your business. Most of us as business have busy times in certain seasons and other times in different seasons. So show that you have thought about this and write it down. And I plan to have more business in the first 3 months of the year, and blah, 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 or put percentages there. Give it some thought. What you want to do here is prove to me and the reader and to yourself that you have thought about this. And it will go a long way in helping you determine how you're going to go about your forecasting and marketing if you're thinking about it right up front with the different seasons. Talk about the opening date. And you can take this pre-planner that we've just done and talked about and insert that as an attachment. And you can put down the opening date and then in parentheses, see attached pre-planner. Okay? Very easy stuff. Again, short, concise statements. Talk about the money, your startup money that you have that you're going to need and what you're going to do with the money that you're going to borrow if you're going to borrow money. Talk about how these items are going to be used that you're getting ready to buy. And now, as we've already mentioned, take that same list of your marketable profit centers, just plug it right in here, and talk about the amount of revenues and expenses they would generate during the first. I suggest you do a 6-month pre-planner. Tell how much money you've invested in the business to date, how much you've got on hand, and then how much you plan to borrow. Now that basically would get you going. If you're not needing to go to the bank now to borrow some money, you can stop at that and we'll build on that with the budget that we're getting ready to work on. But if you don't do a loan application, you're going to need your signature and the date, a copy of the budget that we're getting ready to work on, and a copy of your personal financial statement, which is the summary of your assets, liabilities, and net worths. If you need a personal financial statement and don't have one, any bank or any lending institution has them, or I'll be glad to find one on the internet. You can copy them right off a lot of places on the internet and print them off. I'll be glad to send you a copy too. But that's it. You'll have a business plan once you get started here, and you can start working with it and making the changes that you need to do it. So that's our general plan. That's our planner, our roadmap of how we're going to get there. But now how about the individual money items? What is the plan to bring in revenue, to estimate how much our expenses are going to be, and to see what's left? Remember that what's left? It's very important part. Let's think about that. The tools that we need to create the budget are basically remembering those different types of marketable profit centers, listing down the different items that we're going to make money with and estimate how much that's going to cost us and estimate how much revenue they're going to bring in. There's 3 different types, and I want you to have at least one of each type and at least 5 different revenue generators. We want a diversified group. We want them mixed up so that they're different. The more diversified they are, the more positive cash flow you're going to have. And the more positive cash flow you're going to have, that means it's going to be easier to manage your budget because you're going to have some money to work with. So we'll create a different model for each one of our profit centers and each one of our expense centers. Let's now pretend that we're using little Lego blocks, building blocks like our children use. We'll snap them right into place, put a monetary value on each one, depending on which column they end up in. When we total them up, we'll be putting together our business plan. I don't want to oversimplify it, but it's pretty much just that simple. For example, up front, up top there, I would say for a for-profit business instead of a nonprofit. We'll do a nonprofit as well, but this would be for a for-profit business. We don't come up with our blocks with different kind of income that we got coming in, like so over on the left-hand side. And over on the right-hand side, we're going to estimate what our expenses are. Now, I know that we're guessing. We have to be guessing now because we don't have any tangible facts to work with. After you've done your first year in business or your first 6 months in business, we'll be able to go back and make adjustments based on the real numbers that you're doing. But right now, we're going to be guessing, and that's fine. If you have no idea what the guessing numbers are, then Charles will be able to help you, or I'll be able to help you. But we want these blocks, we want these squares filled up. So as an example, we're going to talk about new customer marketable profit centers. We're estimating $3,900 coming in. And from package deals, bundle deals, we're going to get $29,900. You see the block right here. The third block is big ticket sales. We're going to bring in $56,800. In other words, in this period of time, we're bringing in $82,600. It's a lot of money. $82,600. What you're going to learn is how much revenue you can generate with a small business. And after tonight, you're going to see what I'm talking about. So we got an estimated revenue of $82,600 black ink. So now let's start estimating what our costs are, what our expenses are. Well, we got some debts to pay off during this first 6 months of $37,500. Secondly, we got some insurance premiums of $14,950. Looks like we're getting in the logging truck business here. We got payroll and labor of $84,545. That's our estimates. So we're estimating during this same period of time, we're going to spend $136,995. Wow. We're going to spend $54,000 more than we're going to bring in. That doesn't look good, does it? No. That's red ink in your business plan. But let me tell you this, it looks real good on paper. It looks real good on advanced planning because it's not actually coming out of your pocket yet, and this is why we're doing it. This is why we're doing this business plan for you, so you can estimate and guess before you get started into the real deal. Because right now you can see that something's got to change. And how are we going to do that? We got to add some money into the till, right? So in this for-profit business, we want to add at least 3 new profit centers that are going to bring in $25,000 apiece, or a total of $75,000 we want to add to our business plan, and we add it by adding profit centers. And we keep the ones we had before, but even with that, now our income is $157,600, and our expenses stayed the same. So now we've got a profit of $20,605. We changed the whole picture around with good planning by adding positive profit centers, connecting the dots that made sense, adding profit centers that we can use in by-the-way sales, makes sense. And that's the way we get it done. And we all have to do that. After 3 or 4 years in business, you'll start comparing your financial statements. You'll still and make them become your business plan. But this will continue on with good information that you'll be able to use. Now, this sheet is in your handout. You can print it right out. And it represents the completed business plan for the for-profit business. Because each one of those blocks, plug in the revenue that they brought in for each one of your different profit centers. And you'll remember that you've got profit centers here for traffic, for new customers, for better margins, repeat business, and big ticket sales. And this is to help remind you to make sure that you're diversifying your profit center so that you can do this. Also, if you've borrowed any money or you've got other invested money to come in, you'll plug that in here too, because that is the income. all this up here, excuse me, the black ink is income. Now to offset each one of our different types of expenses, we're going to put it in a model. Maybe it's our marketing plan, our startup expenses that we talked about earlier, employee costs and staffing. Every business will have a few different types of expenses, and you'll have a different model for each one. And if we borrowed money, we're going to have some debt payments to make, right? When you plug all those in, and plugging them in means writing the numbers in right from those model blocks that we talked about earlier. The black ink is going to be income, the red ink is expenses. We subtract the expenses from the income, and we've got what's left. And that's the greatest what left that you'll ever do is your first business plan. Because hopefully as you were doing your income goals or your business revenue goals, whatever those goals were, we're going to see if this what's left meets it, equals it, exceeds it. And if we're coming up short on the what's left at the bottom of your business plan than what your goals were, then we need to change one, the profitability or the expenses on the business plan, or two, you need to revisit your goals. Okay? And I showed you earlier how you can add the profit centers to your business plan to increase your revenues. Now, nonprofits, they are chartered and set up different with the lawyers, with the incorporation papers. They're set up different than the for-profit businesses are. And there's things there to learn, which is how to get it started, doing your articles of incorporation. All this is in your handouts, detailed information. How to get the EIN numbers, do the bylaws, about conflicts of interest, and how to do your board meetings. That information is in the bylaws. There's also some computer links in the handouts, just like there will be in your recording tomorrow that you can take right here, that gives you lots of good videos and lots of information about starting a nonprofit. If that's kind of what you want to do, wonderful. I'm not the expert in doing that. And Charles will be able to set you up, and I'll be able to recommend some nonprofit webinars and coaches that you can talk to. However, the nonprofits raise their money. They apply the same principles that we're doing in the profit business. So I have a lot of nonprofits that come to my webinars for this purpose. Nonprofits might include special needs groups in public, faith-based groups and churches are nonprofits, veterans groups, civic organization, American Legion, VFW, they're nonprofits, scouting groups, your PTOs, your PTAs, and such as that. So there are a lot of nonprofits out here that you may be involved in or want to start at some point in time, and we'll be glad to help you. Nonprofits are not out buying and selling stuff to sell. Generally, they're getting grants from the government or private individuals, business donors and such as that. Memorial gifts, or when people pass away, sometimes they donate money to the nonprofit. So the fundraising part for a nonprofit is usually different than the for-profit. But there is a commonality here. While the nonprofits use a world of different ways to raise money, then I want to tell you, you can do the same thing in your business as well. The money raised would not be tax-free, but indeed it's good money in ways that you can do it while you want to raise money for your business. Any one of these is a fundraiser that you could use. In week 5, I'm going to show you how to do fundraisers, how to get the organization that you need to bring them in, and lots of information about how to go about having successful fundraisers. But nonprofits use them a lot, as I'm sure you're all aware. They have their own budget. So here's an example of a nonprofit budget, a real budget right out of Clinton, North Carolina. A good member of the academy here let us use their numbers. And they were giving us a comparison of expenses in 2023. And their income was $136,000. Their expenses were $155,000. So their budget in 2023 lost almost $20,000, and that means something needed to change, right? So when they come back now for their new budgets, they increase the budget to make it happen, so that their new budget is bringing in $193,000 and having a $73,000 surplus. That's what you want. Instead of losing 19, 73. Did they close the nonprofit? They didn't. Did it go out of business? They didn't. They simply changed the budget and put profit centers in place, added or cut expenses where they needed to have a plan to go with. That's what I want to encourage you to notice you can do, but you have to do this budgeting work to go forward with the business. Some of you will say, well, I want to get this business started and I'll just take what comes in. And that's your option. But if you want to get serious about it and see the business grow to some significant numbers, then you want to do that. So here's the new budget for the nonprofit, comparing the in 2024 with a $7,200 surplus. All of us can do this with the different work we're doing. The key again is not throw your plan away. Don't quit. Don't give up on yourself. Be savvy. Make the adjustments that it takes to stay in business. Now, there's two different things that we're doing now, right? To make money. We're selling products or we're selling time for money, services. Selling products, we're selling time for money, which is selling services. And some of us may be doing some of both. So as you're doing your business plan and doing your models, you might have to use one model for selling services and another for selling products. And we'll do a different model for every different type of product you're selling, and a different model for the services you're selling, and different models for the different types of expenses that you have. Then we just plug them into that sheet that I showed you earlier. Let's look at products to begin with. Whatever your profit center is, you'll start out with a blank sheet just like this to determine what it is you're selling, what it costs you, and how much income you hope to have at the end of the period that you're testing. We'll take that and determine what's left. Then we'll take the what's left number, plug it into that block that we talked about, and hold it to the side until we're ready to put it in the stack of our different income margins. But what's left here, I want to caution you here, what are we going to call that money that's what's left? Depending on who you're talking to, they might call it revenue or profit or margin or deposits or earnings, and it could be all of those. But specifically for this purpose in your business planning with models, I want you to call it margin. Margin. Type that in if you don't mind. Thank you, Charlene, for giving that a shot, but let's call this margin. We're not going to end up with what our profit number is until we get to the bottom line on that business plan. We're reserving the word profit for the bottom line on the business plan after we plug in our models. Thank you all for paying attention. So let's use as an example a really good small business. Oh man, there's thousands of them in Eastern North Carolina. You may have somebody, a family member that's in it or in it yourself. Matter of fact, I've been looking at used cars the last few weeks, kind of got the fever a little bit. So let's talk about, let's say that we're starting a used car business. And the way that business works is buyers, which are the folks over on the left-hand side here, leaning up against the rail, they're from all over the place, individuals and used car dealers around the different places in the state. They're up in the seats over there. And as these cars roll in and pass them, they have already been out in the warehouse or out on the lot and determined when this car comes through, I'm going to bid a certain amount of money on it. I know exactly what my high bid will be, and I'm not going to go over that. And these people down on the right-hand side here, they're the auctioneers. And you can watch them do this on television on one of these cable channels that actually have the auctions. The auctioneers are selling these vehicles as they roll by, and they will do hundreds, in some auctions, thousands of them a day. There's I think an auction company in Greensboro or Charlotte that has 6 lanes of cars going through all day long. It's amazing how many go through here. So auction is a big business. So our local used car dealers over on the right, on the left, he'll buy the cars, and then he'll carry them back to our community and put them on his car lot. And he'll put stickers up and flags up and shine them up and make them look as good as he can, so that people drive by, like the looks, and go in and negotiate, maybe make the buy. That's what they do. So that's what we see on the surface. Now let's see what's happening back in the bank account. On used car lots, the most popular used car will sell for somewhere around $6,000. And I know that's mighty low compared to how high a lot of car prices are now, but still, the used car lots will have $6,000 cars there because that is the main car that startup buyers buy for their child that turns 16. That's the main car you get when you have a wreck and you got to get a replacement in a hurry for a low amount of dollars. That's the main size car people get when they're having financial trouble and you got to get something that beats walking. A lot of people will buy that $6,000 car. There are cars less than that, but very few used car dealers will stock very many of them. That $6,000 car in an area that's got a pretty good population, they'll be able to sell about 15 of those cars a month. 15 a month. And we're doing a 6-month plan here. So in a 6-month period, they'll sell about 90 of the $6,000 cars, which will generate $540,000 in revenue. Over $500,000. So my friends, this is where you start seeing that your small business may end up generating more money than you ever dreamed it would. It can be amazing sometimes. They didn't pay but $4,000 for that car. They would not have paid any more because they knew they needed to make $6,000 for it, and they'd pay $4,000. They needed to sell it for $6,000, so they weren't going to pay over $4,000 at the auction. And as they were there buying those 90 cars, they spent $360,000. $360,000 to buy the 90 cars. Taking the expense from the income, what's the margin? $180,000 new money available earnings for the business. And this is the earnings for that one class of car, that one model block, the $6,000 model. Now, indeed, they would have a different block for $10,000 to $12,000, a different block for $15,000 to $20,000, a different block for over $20,000, maybe a different block for pickup trucks. They're divided up depending on how the business is going. But that one used car lot might have 7 or 8 different models for different value cars for them to do their business plan. And you can see that if the least expensive cars were going to generate $180,000, some of the larger ones would be even more. They would also have a model for finance charges, because that it will be a major revenue generator for them, finance. And then they'll do all the expenses, of course, where they went to the auction and bought it, the transport costs to get it to and from, service charges or warranty work they have to do. There'll be plenty of expenses as well, lighting at the car lot and signage, and of course, commission sales. But that's how they would do it. And they'll create their income and their expense blocks to come up with a business plan. That's selling products. Now, selling time and services is a different animal altogether. So let's take a look at that. I want you to use 4 days a week as the time you're going to spend meeting your budget for selling services or selling time for money. 4 days a week. And you'll do that by absolutely just setting up a chart on your calendar. Your most important business tool when you're selling time for money is your calendar. So we will set up basically knowing that we're going to account for and plan to make a certain amount of money on each day during these 16 days. That's your month, 16 days. We're going to determine, just for the fun of it, that you want to generate $2,400 a day. I mean, $2,400 a week. That's how much you want to generate. Have you in hand at the end of the week. And to do that, if you're just working 4 days a week, that means we're going to be generating $600 a day. We'll break it right down. How much to be successful in selling time for money, you'll need to have an estimate and a goal of how much money per day for 16 days a month that you're going to bring in to stay on budget. Depending on what you're doing, some of your work may bring in $150 per client, or you may be doing some types of work that'll bring in $300 for a job, or you may have some jobs that you make $50 for a job. But how it breaks down, you want to know that you're going to have at least $600 earnings per day during the first 4 days of the week, or at least 4 days a week, so that you have $2,400 worth of revenue. And as you're planning your calendar and making appointments, you will plug in the people when you can give them service based on what your income goals are that day and what you're estimating the revenue you can generate. You will have a calendar like this in front of you all the time as you're booking appointments. Now, how many of you have been to the dentist recently? And if you have been to a dentist recently, they set up an appointment for you to come back on a certain day at a certain time. And they know, depending on what you're coming back for, be it a tooth being pulled for $400 or teeth cleaning for $75 or a filling of work for $50, they already know when you make that appointment how much money is going to be generated, and because of that, that determines the date that they put you in a certain chair on a certain date. Because the dentist office has a certain goal that they have for each week to make all their bills get paid. And they plug people in on certain dates to manage that cash flow. And they will call you and send you text messages and make sure that your butt is in that chair on the right day at the right time, right? Well, we all have to do that if this is the type of business that we're in. And if you're selling time for money, that's the business that you're in. But you need a business plan that helps you do that organizing and planning. Now, that gives you 3 days to go after a new business, to set up another business, to take care of things that you couldn't get done because of equipment failure or raining or some problem that got you off schedule. You have to make up that time. And it gives you another day to go to church, to spend time with your family, with your spouse, to generate your own batteries, to rest and relax and kind of regroup. You need that. And if you don't have a plan that helps you focus your work for those 4 days, then you're going to be chasing rabbits everywhere all the time and never get any relaxation, mental or otherwise. This is how it's done. Professionals that sell time for money use a plan like this. Determine how much money you need to bring in and go about it. Now let's take it to the next step. Let's say now that you're a graphic designer and you serve people, and if you're after that $2,400 that we talked about, at $600 a day, in a 90-day period, you're going to bring in $57,000. Excuse me, a 6-month period. You're going to bring in $57,600. How about that? 96 days. Now, let's say your cost you estimate at $200 a day. You'll spend $19,200 while you're earning that $57,600. Okay, you've already got it figured out. And that will leave you $38,400 during that 6-month period as margin. So if your number there, if you want that number to be $70,000, then you're going to go back and revisit how much money you need to generate during the day and how to go about doing it. And then that will be your goal. And sometimes when you're quoting prices to your customers, you might be able to do a job for $150, but because you need to do it on a day that you need to generate $350, that's what you would quote. If you don't have a $150 slot to put them into, then you don't need to raise that price to $350. And you'll learn how to leave the door open to that in the way that you present it. Well, that's real life selling time for money. Okay? If you have any questions, always let me know. So we'll take those generators and we'll do it just like we did before with the other businesses. We put it in there. We ended up with our first deal losing $54,000. We need to make the changes, put our blocks in there, switch some things out so that we end up in black ink, end up with what's left. And I certainly want it to be that. Remember, these lines are important, that you are creating your income generators to meet the criteria of it. Is this a generator that brings in new traffic every day? Is this a generator that brings in new customers? Is this a generator that has some pretty high margins, a repeat business? Is this just a repeat business that I can count on people coming back month after month and year after year? Is this a type of profit center that is bundled to bring in some big ticket sales? When you have all that going on, you have got your diversification needs met, and using this chart to help you do that. Also in your handouts is a graphic which was done by one of our members that has your revenues on the left, expenses on the right. Take your pen or pencil and an eraser and just use this as a scratch pad. Just start making your notes on the different kinds of expenses and revenues that you have to help you work it out before you actually start building your actual models. Wrapping this up now, what are the type things that maybe we make mistakes on a regular basis when doing this? I want to tell you, you got to remember your taxes. These taxes have to be paid, and when you're plugging in those revenues to be bringing in $100, if it's a product, then you need to plug in $107 because you don't have to charge taxes on that for most customers. So think about how much taxes are going to be generated. When you're plugging in your expense numbers for your payroll and salaries and things like that, you don't have to remember your benefits packages or your withholding taxes. And that can add up to a right good chunk of money. So you want to have, when you put those expense items in there, remember to add in whatever those withholding taxes are. If you borrow money, you got to make a monthly payment. Remember, there's usually an interest fee that goes with each monthly payment, and you want to separate that out, the difference in your the money that you're paying back versus the interest, because your interest is going to be a deduction for you. Insurances, to get started in the business, usually you pay an advance fee to get your initial insurance premium paid, but after that comes usually 10 monthly payments. So you want to plug those into your plan as well. Not putting away some savings money or rainy day money or reserve money each month is a mistake. Well, let's say this, planning not to save some money. No matter how little or how much, it's important that you want to do it, that you've got a slot to remind you in your chart of accounts that says, okay, how much money we want to save this month. And that may mean you can't get something that you want. But saving some money each month is something you need to do. So that just by being in your plan will help you oftentimes put off buying something that you want and put away some savings money because you know there's going to be a rainy day coming one day or some unexpected expenses. Thinking that everything is perfect will always end up giving you a black eye because there's a Murphy rule coming to get you somewhere. A curveball will get you right in the face. Remember, everything is not perfect. Even it may be going really well, but these are short-term things, and it's just a matter of time before something gets in a curve. So have your guard up. Be savvy about doing your business the right way. That's part of doing your business planning and forecasting. I want you to remember that your success is our goal, and I want you to let us help you get there. Next week, we're going to talk about putting that marketing plan together. The Golden Goose marketing plan will bring you golden eggs, which is a lot of sales. And it will also teach you how to follow up after the sale to start a relationship with your customer. Pretty much anybody can sell something to someone else one time, kind of like going to the state fair once a year. But my friends, we want our customers to be drawn to us on a regular basis. We want our profit centers to have things they want and things they need and reasons to keep spending money with us. That's the key to the long haul in business. So we'll keep that in our mind, okay, and work on it. Next week, we're going to talk about that marketing plan to make it work. It's cold outside and it's dark outside, so let's light our candle. Let me encourage you to light your candle, number one, to give you some warmth tonight. So number two, to give you the ability to share the warmth with other people, to be a giver of good things. And number two, that light to show you the way, hopefully will also show the customers the way to come to you and start doing business. When you have that lighthouse attitude, that you're sending out light and warmth to your community, to your potential customers, to your family, to your friends, things will go better. So let me say to you, thank you so much for being a part of tonight's program. I hope you've enjoyed it. Get some good information from it. We'll start doing some of those homework challenges and send them to me. I'd like to have a photograph of each one of you so I can share with folks and start helping promote your business. It's never too early to start doing that. Y'all just been real great. If you'd like, turn your microphone on, ask some questions, or tell me what you think.
I thank you for just another great class, as usual. It's nice to hear these things over and over again. Sometimes, you get a little complacent and you think and then you come back and you say something like, oh, yeah, I remember that now. So I thank you for going over these things again, just kicking me back into gear.
That's right, Charlene. We're all the same way. And I teach these, I've been teaching them now for 19 years. And every class, I'll say something that I've been saying for years, but it comes up with a different meaning or a different way that we can apply it. So we just have to let it soak in so we can learn how to apply it with our individual situations. And thank you for sharing that with us and being with us again tonight. Rose, how does you and your husband enjoy tonight's class? Are you still with us? And Lee, good to have you back with us tonight, and Lynette as well. Okay, my friends, stay warm. Be careful if you're on slick roads tomorrow. None of us need to have an accident or in claim. We want to stay safe. Be warm. God bless you and your family and your business. Good night and take care.